The morning sun cuts through the acacia canopy like golden spears, casting dancing shadows across the East African savanna. In this primordial world, where every breath could be your last, a small band of early humans huddles together in the safety of rocky outcropping. These are not the humans you know. Their faces are weathered and primal, their bodies lean and powerful from a lifetime of survival. They are Homo habilis, the toolmakers, living on the razor's edge between extinction and evolution. Kesi, a female with intelligent eyes and calloused hands, cradles her infant against her chest. The child's soft whimpers echo off the stone walls as she rocks him gently, but her gaze never stops scanning the horizon. Every rustle in the grass, every distant call, could signal death approaching on silent paws. This is 2.7 million years ago, and the world belongs to predators. The morning ritual begins as it has for thousands of generations. The males of the group, their bodies scarred from countless encounters with danger, position themselves at the entrance of their rocky shelter. Boma, the eldest among them, grips a jagged stone tool in his weathered palm. His knuckles are white with tension as he peers into the grassland beyond. Something has been stalking them for 3 days now. Something patient, something deadly. In the distance, a bone-chilling roar reverberates across the plains. The sound sends ice through the veins of every human in the shelter. It's a saber-toothed cat, massive and relentless, with fangs like ivory daggers. The creature has been hunting their group since they left the safety of the forest, following the scent of the vulnerable young. For these early humans, protecting their children isn't just about love, it's about the survival of their entire species. Kesi's infant begins to cry, the sound piercing the tense silence. Every adult in the group freezes, their hearts hammering against their ribs. The baby's cries might as well be a dinner bell to every predator within miles. Without hesitation, Kesi presses the child closer to her body, using her own warmth and heartbeat to soothe him into silence. This is the first line of defense, keeping the young quiet, invisible to the creatures that hunt them. But silence alone won't save them. The group begins to execute a survival strategy, refined over millennia of terror and loss. The women and children retreat deeper into the rocky shelter, squeezing into crevices barely wide enough for their bodies. The stone walls become their fortress, but even stone can't stop everything that hunts in this prehistoric nightmare. Boma signals to the other males with subtle hand gestures, a primitive language born from necessity. 3 males will remain at the entrance, armed with crude but effective weapons. 2 others will climb to higher ground, using elevation as their advantage. The remaining male, Django, will do something that seems like madness, but is actually genius. He'll become the decoy. The psychological warfare begins. These early humans have learned something that separates them from every other species on Earth. They can think like their predators. They understand fear, anticipation, and misdirection. Django moves away from the shelter, deliberately making noise, leaving traces of his scent on bushes and rocks. He's not running blindly. He's leading the saber-tooth away from the vulnerable members of his family. The cat appears like a golden shadow among the tall grass, its muscles rippling under a coat marked by countless battles. Its eyes, cold and calculating, scan the area where Django disappeared. For a moment, predator and prey are locked in a deadly game of chess played with lives as stakes. The cat's nostrils flare, catching human scent, but something confuses it. The smell is too scattered, too deliberate. Back at the shelter, Kesi watches through a crack in the rocks as the drama unfolds. Her infant sleeps peacefully now, unaware that his life hangs in the balance. Other mothers clutch their children, their faces etched with primal terror and fierce determination. These women have lost children before, to disease, to accidents, to the countless dangers of their world. But they've also learned to fight back with every weapon at their disposal. The deception works. The saber-tooth follows Django's false trail, but the young male isn't helpless. He carries fire, precious embers kept alive in a hollowed gourd, wrapped in dry grass and animal hide. Fire is their secret weapon, their equalizer against creatures stronger and faster than they could ever be. As the great cat closes in, Django reveals his blazing torch, swinging it in wide arcs that send sparks flying through the air. The predator recoils, its primitive brain flooded with instinctual fear. Fire means pain, means burns that never heal properly in the wild. The cat snarls and paces, but it doesn't attack. For these early humans, mastering fire wasn't just about warmth or cooking, it was about turning the night from enemy territory into their own domain. but the victory is temporary. The saber-tooth isn't alone. Its mate appears from the opposite direction, flanking the human shelter with calculated precision. These cats have hunted together for years, perfecting their strategy against prey that's becoming increasingly clever. The second cat moves toward the rocks where the families hide, its powerful limbs carrying it up the steep incline with feline grace. Boma sees the approaching threat and makes a decision that will echo through evolutionary history. Instead of fighting defensively, he does something that shocks even his own group. He attacks first. With a primal scream that seems to come from the depths of human spirit, he charges the massive predator, his stone weapon raised high. The other males follow, their voices joining his in a battle cry that sends chills through every living thing on the savannah. This coordinated assault represents a revolutionary moment in human development. These early humans have learned that sometimes the best defense is a terrifying offense. Their weapons are crude, but their teamwork is sophisticated. They spread out, surrounding the cat, forcing it to divide its attention. Each human becomes part of a larger organism, a collective intelligence that's greater than the sum of its parts. The battle is brutal and brief. Stone meets claw. Human courage faces animal fury. Blood spatters the rocks as both species fight for their right to exist in this unforgiving world. The cat's powerful swipe catches one of the males across the chest, sending him tumbling, but his sacrifice allows Boma to land a crucial blow with his sharpened stone. The weapon finds its mark and the predator staggers, wounded and suddenly uncertain. Meanwhile, Django continues his dance with the first saber-tooth, using fire and agility to stay just out of reach. The cat grows frustrated, its attacks becoming wilder and less controlled. This is exactly what the human wants. An angry predator makes mistakes, and in this world, mistakes mean death. The wounded cat at the shelter makes a final, desperate lunge toward the rocks where the women and children hide. But the human mothers are ready. They've prepared their own defenses. Sharp sticks hardened in fire, heavy stones, and most importantly, absolute determination to protect their young. Kesi emerges from her hiding spot, her child strapped securely to her back, a pointed stick in her hands. Her eyes burn with maternal fury that's more terrifying than any predator. The psychological impact is immediate. The cat suddenly faces not one or two opponents, but an entire community united in defense of their future. The wounded predator, outmatched and outnumbered, makes a strategic retreat. It limps away into the tall grass, followed by its mate, who abandons the hunt with Django to rejoin its injured partner. As the immediate danger passes, the group doesn't celebrate. They prepare. The wounded male is tended to with primitive but effective medicine. His cuts are cleaned with water and treated with healing plants that generations of humans have learned to identify. The group's knowledge of their environment extends beyond just hunting and hiding. They've become master survivors, using every resource their world provides. The children who witnessed this entire ordeal have learned lessons that no modern classroom could ever teach. They've seen cooperation triumph over individual strength, intelligence overcome brute force, and love prove stronger than fear. These experiences will shape their own survival strategies when they become adults, ensuring that human knowledge passes from one generation to the next. But the day's challenges aren't over. The scent of blood has attracted scavengers, hyenas whose maniacal laughter echoes across the plains as they approach. These creatures are different from the cats, less powerful individually, but more numerous and absolutely relentless. They hunt in packs, and they've learned to follow the sounds of conflict, knowing that blood usually means an easy meal. The humans adapt their strategy once again. They form a tight defensive circle around their shelter, with the strongest adults on the outside, and the mothers with children in the center. But they also do something remarkable. They begin to make noise deliberately. Their voices rise in a coordinated chant that serves multiple purposes. It keeps the group unified, masks the sounds of the children, and creates an audio wall that confuses the approaching hyenas. The psychological warfare intensifies as the humans use every trick in their survival arsenal. They bang stones together, creating sharp, startling sounds that disrupt the hyenas' pack coordination. They wave burning branches, creating moving walls of fire that the scavengers can't predict or counter. Most importantly, they present themselves as a unified force rather than individual prey items. The hyenas circle, their spotted coats rippling as they pace around the human formation. Their laughter becomes more frequent, more excited, as they probe for weaknesses in the human defense. But these early people have faced pack hunters before, and they know that patience often wins where aggression fails. Hours pass in this tense standoff. The sun climbs higher, beating down on both humans and hyenas with merciless intensity. This becomes a test of endurance as much as courage. The humans take turns maintaining the defensive perimeter, while others rest and tend to the wounded. They share water carefully, knowing that dehydration could be as deadly as any predator. As the day progresses, something remarkable happens. Other human groups, drawn by the sounds of conflict, begin to appear on the distant horizon. These are members of allied bands. Not the same family group, but humans nonetheless. Their arrival changes the entire dynamic of the encounter. What started as a small band fighting for survival becomes a gathering of early humanity, united against the dangers of their world. The hyenas, suddenly outnumbered and facing an increasingly organized opposition, begin to lose interest in the confrontation. They retreat gradually, their laughter fading into the distance as they seek easier prey elsewhere. The humans have won another victory, not through individual heroism, but through community, planning, and the kind of complex cooperation that no other species has ever achieved. As evening approaches, the allied groups share resources and information. They exchange knowledge about predator movements, safe water sources, and areas where edible plants can be found. This informal network of communication represents the beginning of human civilization, not cities or writing, but the foundation upon which all future progress will be built. The children play together under the watchful eyes of all the adults, not just their biological parents. In this harsh world, every child belongs to the entire community, and every adult is responsible for protecting the next generation. They play games that teach survival skills, throwing stones accurately, moving silently, recognizing the calls of different animals. Play is education, and education is survival. Kesi sits with her infant as the stars begin to appear in the darkening sky. The child is healthy, safe for another day in a world that offers no guarantees. She looks around at the faces illuminated by firelight, weathered, scarred, but undefeated. These are the people who will give rise to farmers, artists, scientists, and explorers. But right now they are simply parents, doing whatever it takes to ensure their children see another sunrise. The night brings new sounds, the distant roar of big cats, the whooping calls of hyenas, the rustle of unseen creatures moving through the grass. But the humans are ready. They've learned that survival isn't just about being strong or fast. It's about being smart, being together, and never giving up hope. Their fire burns bright against the African night, a symbol of human determination and the promise that tomorrow will bring new challenges, but also new opportunities. In protecting their young, these early humans are protecting something more precious than individual lives. They're protecting the future of consciousness itself, the spark that will eventually illuminate the entire world. The tactics they've developed, deception, cooperation, tool use, fire mastery, and psychological warfare, will be refined and passed down through countless generations. Every time a parent protects a child, every time a community comes together against a common threat, every time intelligence triumphs over brute force, the legacy of these prehistoric survivors continues. As the embers glow in the darkness, and the children sleep peacefully in their mother's arms, the story of human survival writes another chapter. Tomorrow will bring new dangers, but it will also bring new solutions because that's what humans do. They adapt, they learn, and they never stop fighting for the right to exist in a world that seems determined to destroy them. In this moment, 2.7 million years ago, the future of humanity rests in the calloused hands and fierce hearts of these early people. They don't know they're making history. They're just trying to make it through another day. But in doing so, they're creating the foundation for everything that will follow, proving that love, intelligence, and determination are the most powerful weapons in the arsenal of survival.